Well, happy weekend to you. It's time to do a video. Get ready. Okay, folks, for today I'd like to talk about hell. Recently I've had some folks tell me that they think if people just understood there is no hell, it would help them understand the gospel. And, or we could win them over with the gospel. And, I can tell you that there is one person I talk to from time to time. He called us about 2 years ago. And what captured him with our message about the gospel was we said that nobody goes to hell. And so it was a domino for him. A few months ago I did a video on what is your domino, what was your domino that tipped all the other dominoes of doctrines you grew up with and just tipped them over when you came to understand the gospel. For some people it was the issue of law and grace. For others it was the issue that judgment is past and there is no coming judgment. But for this one guy, it was definitely the hell thing. But I can also tell you about somebody we've also been in discussions for 2 years with, who that was a pretty big issue for him, and so he decided to study on his own, and he found that there truly was no hell either. And but he still hung up on you have to accept Jesus and believe in him and obey. Now, he's gotten a little more grace since then, so his ideas on what obedience exactly is kind of murky right now, but that's where he's still at. He's stuck on you gotta believe. Now, we talk about the believing issue as well, that other than Jesus, there was nobody who ever believed, and according to Paul, God made sure nobody believed so that he could have mercy upon all and redeem the entire world without our belief. When it comes to hell, yes, we do tell you that we don't teach about hell much, We will refer you to people like Gary Amaral at tentmaker.com, and he also had a website at one time called What the Hell is Hell? .net or org or com, and there's dashes in between each word. But they went in depth on that. We never did. Mike has never, and I don't see huge importance of it either. We do say enough about hell. I like what Steve Essery asked one time. He said, if there's a hell, why didn't God ever warn the Jews about it? And he's right. It's true. He never did. In all of the scriptures you find in the Old Testament leading all the way up to the birth of Christ, God never spoke of hell once. Now you might say, well, I found hell in the Old Testament. Yeah, the word is always Sheol. It's always the grave. Most of the time, translators translated it as grave, but they arbitrarily, wherever they wanted to, sometimes just translated it as hell. It never was hell. It was always Sheol, which means it was always just a grave. He never warned them about hell. In the New Testament, there's a few places where Jesus mentions something that was translated as hell in your English Bible, but he was always referring to, most of the time, 99% of the time, referring to a place called Gehenna, which is in the Valley of Hinnom, which is an old trash dump where they burned trash and burned bodies, and sometimes some rather misled and confused Jews actually made live human sacrifices, burning their children, I believe. But he was referring to Gehenna. He was not referring to a place of eternal fire and torment and punishment and damnation. So, but for people who think that hell is the domino for everybody that will trip them right into the gospel, We've not found that to be true, but it is some people's domino. It is some people's trip domino that trips them all and knocks all the dominoes down. It is for some people. But like I've just explained to you, for some it trips them and knocks over their dominoes. For others, like the other guy, it only knocked over one domino, but all of his other dominoes are still in place. So the question I have for you today is, yes, hell is a domino, but it's not everybody's domino. And we did this once before, and I got a few answers from you folks. But I'd like to ask you again, what was it that tipped over your first domino when you started coming to understand the gospel of grace and peace? You can email me, call me, or write your comments down below on our YouTube channel right below this video. And as for the rest of the week, well, have a revolutionary week.